Hello everyone, this is The Last Word and I'm Maria Shakil. The cash row in the Justice Varma case is playing out in new forms every day. The presidents of 6 bar associations have met the Chief Justice of India with the demand that the CJI should set the criminal law in motion in the case of Justice Varma. The bar associations have questioned as to why no FIR has been registered so far. Chief Justice of India Sanjiv Khanna assured the bar associations that their demand for the withdrawal of the transfer of Justice Varma, in whose residence a huge amount of cash was found, would be considered. Is the accountability process now imperative in the judge's cash row? First up the story, and then I bring in the guests.
There should be more accountability in the judiciary. That is the gist of what 6 High Court Bar Association heads from across India today discussed with the senior-most judges of the Supreme Court, including CJI Sanjiv Khanna, in the fallout of Justice Yashwant Varma cash case.
हमारी जितनी भी डिमांड्स हैं, उसको वो कंसीडर करेंगे and will take a suitable decision.
In a big development today, the CJI accepted their demand for a meeting with the Collegium in the Supreme Court. Subsequently, the Bar Association members seemed to mellow a bit and said they might consider calling off the strike by lawyers of the Allahabad High Court.
Going on strike is not a decision of one person. Going on strike is a decision of 35,000 lawyers who forms the General House. This decision has been taken by General House. As a president, it is my duty to communicate the latest development to the General House, and then General House will take the decision. Why you preempt that General House will not consider the request of CJI? Why you prevent that we are not able to understand the feelings of the judiciary? We are not able to understand the feelings of the people.
The delegation of Bar Association heads want the Collegium to withdraw the transfer of Justice Yashwant Varma to Allahabad High Court and to withdraw all administrative work from him. Calling for an FIR against Justice Varma, they said that had criminal law set in motion at the right time, evidence would not have been destroyed. In these kinds of crimes, there would be involvement of others, and non-registration of criminal case would adversely affect their prosecution, the joint statement by them said.
Today, the Bar Association heads have called upon the Supreme Court to lay down accountability standards for judges of the higher judiciary and reassess the current in-house procedures approved by the Supreme Court in 1999. They have also sought restatement of values of judicial life as approved in 1997. With camera person Panchanand, Nupur Dogra reporting from New Delhi for NDTV.
And will accountability be set in motion now? That is the question that I ask on the show tonight. Justice Aditya Nath Mittal is a former judge of Allahabad High Court. We have Kapil Sankla, lawyer of the Supreme Court. Advocate Anil Tiwari is the president of Allahabad Bar Association. We also have Utsav Benz, who is an advocate of the Supreme Court. I'm going to begin with you, Justice Mittal. Is the Bar Association jumping, I would say coming to conclusion and passing a verdict without even the investigation being completed?
Basically, there is a principle in law, res ipsa loquitur, where the things speak itself. I don't think that bar associations are coming at a conclusion, but certainly there are doubts, and there cannot be doubts. Whatever is being shown on the social media as well as on the website of the Honorable the Supreme Court. Certainly, what steps the committee is taking now to take the mobile sets of the police officers and to search the residence as well as to seal the storeroom, that should have been done on the 14th or at least 15th March. Now, various evidences have been eroded, and now the committee has to recollect the evidence. Had this done on the very first day or on the second day, the committee was not required to recollect the evidence. Certainly, there are questions that who directed to get clean the said storeroom, why the residence of Justice Varma was not sealed then and there, why there were not raids on his other residences, including at Allahabad, and why his mobile phone and laptops were not taken into custody. Mere direction that he will not delete the call details is not sufficient. That mobile should have been taken into custody by Honorable the Supreme Court Collegium and then must have been handed over to the 3 judges committee. So whatever is coming out, it cannot be said that there is no basis. And the bar associations, I would like to tell you one incident. Justice Ray was the Chief Justice of Allahabad High Court. One Honorable Supreme Court visited Allahabad without any prior information. Justice Ray was holding his court at Lucknow and he could not reach Allahabad to receive him and to entertain him. Next day, Justice Ray was transferred to Sikkim. For this simple incident, he was transferred to Sikkim, where there are only 2 judges, while the Allahabad High Court has 160 judges. So transferring Justice Varma to Allahabad, it's a reward, it's not a punishment.
Okay, that's
However,
an important point that you have made. That it's a reward, it's not really a punishment here. Kapil Sankla, it's a story which is playing out in multiple ways. Here is the legislature, or should I say the lawmakers, who are looking at building some kind of consensus for NJAC. There are questions being raised about the nature of investigation, and rightly so, because whether the nature of the cash or the burnt cash, all that, where the recovery happened from which part of the house, all that we do not know much about. And then you have the judge who is at the center of this entire controversy, that is Justice Varma, who has denied all these allegations. So shouldn't we be waiting for the entire investigation to be completed?
Well, the difficulty then would be, as my learned colleague has stated, that where is the smoking gun? That was the O.J. Simpson dialogue. Where is the smoking gun? That's vanished. You do not know where the currency is. The place has been sanitized. The direction are merely that nothing more will take place. So the status quo might have been there, but the damage is already done. So therefore, the first instance would be, where is the money? Where is the burnt cash? How much was it? It is anybody's guess. Then the second part of it, as my learned colleague also said, who gave those directions? Now, Justice Varma is one of the brightest judges that we have in Delhi High Court. Now, it would be preposterous to think that he would have given directions to please clean the place where the criminal act or the evidence was there, because this is material evidence. Now, this material evidence has vanished. No action can be taken against the police officers because they were not empowered. No action can be taken against the servants because no servant will come and confess to this. And the 3-member committee would do its own inquiry, but this requires proper investigation. Investigation will not be done because there is a protection under the Constitution, under Article 217 and 124, and various directions and judgments of the Honorable Supreme Court, giving paramount importance to the inquiry by the in-house inquiry, and saying that the police will only come later. So what is going to happen is today is this, that unfortunately the faith of the people in judiciary is already shattered. And it is eroding every day, not because of Justice Varma, but what is happening subsequently. And we have to see where we are. As bright as Justice Varma would be, and I have in complete deference, hopefully it was not him who perpetrated this illegal act. But the thing was, cash was found in a place where normal human beings cannot enter. And substantial cash was found. And the evidence has now vanished. And as rightly stated, the court is being, the Honorable Supreme Court is not punishing Justice Varma. There was another instance, I forgot the name of the judge, who had purchased parde more than the sanctioned amount. And his work was withdrawn till the time it wasn't shown that these came from valid legal sources or whatever the question would be. For such a small incident, you withdraw work.
But Mr.
And here you're
in this
only
particular case, he has been de-rostered as well.
Subsequently.
I'm not trying to build a
That's
case
what
for
I'm saying.
Justice Varma, but I'm just trying to make the point that here are lawyers who appear to be jumping the gun. I mean,
Not at all.
lawyers are
Understand this,
expected
the
to be
punishment.
following the process of law, but here are a set of lawyers who met the CJI, 6 bar association heads are meeting the CJI, demanding an investigation, fine. But the 3-member committee will be completing its probe, submitting its report. Wait till then. What's stopping you from waiting?
Maria, very quickly, the answer is this. Please see what happens between the intervening period of the fire and till the order withdrawing work is passed. Before that, he is transferred to Allahabad. It is only when there is hue and cry in Allahabad is necessary action taken. In the meanwhile, there is no order to protect the scene of crime or to protect, as to say, the smoking gun. All of that has already vanished. So therefore, lawyers are not jumping gun here. Lawyers are only shocked as to the conduct of what is happening. And as I said, in complete deference to what has happened, there were questions about Justice Varma, about the CBI inquiry or the FIR, which took place last year, also about the seniorship that happened in Delhi High Court. And there are strong allegations at this moment. And as much as trust and faith I would have in the judiciary and Justice Varma, but as they say, justice should not only be done, but should be seen to be done.
Yes, and
in
the
this
other
case,
argument,
what is seen to be done is very unfortunate.
Yes, and the other argument should be, Utsav Bens, that the Caesar's wife should be above suspicion. And what is appearing at the moment is that if he is being awarded, as Justice Mittal pointed out, by just being transferred to his parent court, which is Allahabad Court, and a 3-member in-house committee, we have seen how these in-house committees lead to not much.
No, Maria, I'll differ on this. Actually, Justice Nagu, Justice Sandavalia happen to be the finest judges we have in the country today. And they are not only known to be brutally honest, but also fiercely independent. Justice Sandavalia and Justice Nagu both happen to be finest, and I've observed them in the court hearings. Anyways, coming to the main point, I think my learned friend is right. He should not have been sent back to his parent High Court. He should have been sent to maybe a High Court, which is not that important. And ultimate question is much larger. We are talking here about a situation where the Honorable Chief Justice of India has brought sunlight on the evidence. The Supreme Court has rightly so shared the evidences that have been found and shared. I mean, this is unprecedented, shared with the public. And now there's a 3-member committee. 3-member committee happens to be the finest judges we have in India. And we hope that the inquiry committee gives a report. And you have to understand that, the system is, as my learned friend, Mr. Sankla was pointing out, the system is such that a High Court judge, has a lot of immunities and they can be impeached, but there can be an inquiry, but the inquiry has to have a nod from the Chief Justice of the State High Court. So nothing stops. I think that let's have faith in what the Chief Justice of India is trying to do and what our 3 judges committee will finally submit. The Chief Justice of India has indeed, publicly shared all the evidences. It's unprecedented. We have not seen it in a very, very long time, this happening. So I have my complete faith as an officer of the court in what is happening right now, but rightly so. I mean, he ought not to have been transferred back to Allahabad High Court. He could have been transferred to an High Court where there's less of judicial work and it's not so important.
No, but does it actually work that way?
I
mean, what is really the process here, Justice Mittal? Can a judge of a High Court be transferred to any other High Court but not his parent court?
No, there is no such restriction. There is no such restriction that a judge cannot be transferred to his parent High Court. And there is a rule that Collegium has all the powers to transfer a High Court judge anywhere in India it likes.
Okay.
But in the present circumstances, what the bar associations are stating that he should not have been transferred to Allahabad. I should also say on the other side, other side,
yes,
that it is the dustbin of the Allahabad High Court. Then why the Allahabad High Court should not bear the kachra of his court? That is another side. But to my opinion, he should have been transferred to some other High Court where he could not have affected the inquiry and the inquiry process. And I am also of the view that now the time has come that the central government as well as the Supreme Court must work on a policy that whenever any such incident happens, more particularly regarding corruption,
Right.
then what should be the procedure to be followed? Because impeachment is very, very difficult. Till now, no one has been impeached. Impeachment is very difficult. So there must be some other procedure so that the judge of the High Court may be removed. I say, I'm not confirm, I say that under the Constitution of India and under the Collegium system, the judge is appointed upon the recommendation of the Supreme Court Collegium, and then it is cleared by the Law Ministry, and then it is cleared by the PM House, and then it is
That's right.
then the warrant is issued by the President of India.
Right.
So the same procedure may be taken for the removal of a judge also.
Okay.
The Supreme Court Collegium may pass a statement that
So
the
basically,
services of
removal
justice
of a judge or
are
an impeachment of a judge has to be revisited, given the nature of cases that are
that's too
coming
harsh. Maria,
of the
that's too
conduct of
harsh.
judges.
We have to-
I'm coming to you. One
you
moment. I have
Yeah, it's
Anil Tiwari,
absolutely.
who is the president of Allahabad Bar Association, joining us as well. Mr. Tiwari, what is this impatient hurry among the lawyers in Allahabad High Court? I mean, you could have waited for a little bit more. Anyways, the Supreme Court says that in its press release said that that this transfer has nothing to do with what has come out in the public domain vis-a-vis the cash haul. Advocate Tiwari. Okay, so there seems to be some problem with that line. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Sankla.
Right. So what I was saying is the second aspect of what I was saying. My personal belief is that Justice Varma is above board. My personal belief may be that the Honorable Chief Justice, who we know is perhaps one of the strongest Chief Justices we've had till date, is the perfect man to make sure that if there is anything that is ill with the judiciary is cut and removed. Having said that, please also see where we are as far as our judges are concerned. When you talk about female representation, absolutely low. When you talk about scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, very, very less. I think the total is 22 or 27 in the entire 22%, if I'm not wrong, or something less than that. So perhaps it is also time that we actually look into the entire system. We can look into the collegium system. We look into the fact that this is not transparent, and we introduce things like RTI. We introduce things like NJAC back again. We introduce things like there have to be eminent persons from the public, because the largest stakeholder is you, the public, and then us, the lawyers, and get perhaps a representation from the marginalized to make sure that there is adequate representation. There is no question of nepotism. There is no question of me scratching your back so that you can scratch my back. Perhaps it is time with this matter that we look into what ails the system and think of rectifying it. That is all that I want to say.
Okay, so how should
Right.
the system be rectified? Yes, please. Utsav.
Exactly. Mara, can I comment? Yeah, exactly. It's a very important point, my learned Kandadris.
Because
So
there
how do
has
you
to be,
rectify the system?
there has to be,
Now,
one
let me-
moment. Utsav, my point is that there has to be something between the transfer and impeachment. The
Mara,
two
you have to-
actions that are seen to be taken by the judiciary is of this nature only. When it
But
is
Mara, you have to
about
understand.
when it is
you have to
about
understand.
people or judges from within. My limited concern is that the day of the incident is 14th and we are today looking at 27th. 13 days, nearly 2 weeks. And all that has happened is that there are more questions that we know about now than answers to this incident. And what it has certainly done is tarnish the image of the judiciary.
No, I'll go to what Mr. Sankla said. I mean, what ails the judicial system? I think there are many things that ail our system, and one of the problem is that the independence of judiciary is something that we keep hearing. The judiciary is independent, but if you see the process of making judges, the judiciary, to my mind, is not independent, because independent judiciary means that there has to be some sort of independent judiciary where judges are appointed by whatever system the judiciary decides, but there has to be no concern of government whatsoever. So when you have judges who are, appointed by the government vis-a-vis whatever the MOP procedure is set in, and they get, candidates who are, of the government being appointed as judges. So the judiciary independence of judiciary is at question. So if we have a system where the judiciary is independent, and also if the Supreme Court and the courts have a organization like the CBI, which directly reports to the Chief Justice and the State High Court and the Supreme Court, that will be a kind of a good ombudsman. Because I think what issue is right now here that when the cash was caught, after the cash is caught, there is no inquiry. No inquiry takes a long period of time. And as Mr. Sankla pointed out, that destruction of evidence, etc. So I think it is time that the CBI must completely come under the Supreme Court, and the 5 judges in the Collegium must ensure that there is no corruption in the judiciary, because judicial corruption is a fact. It's a truth. We all know about it. But the fact is how to deal with this. As Mr. Sankla pointed rightly out, that there are ills within the system, and we need to take some extraordinary measures to ensure that the independence of the judiciary remains intact, and there is also some kind of an action taken against judges who are corrupt. So for that matter, I would say that it's no rocket science. We do not need the CBI to, because the ultimate job of the CBI is to ensure there is no corruption in the government. The best solution of this can be the CBI chief can be completely appointed by the Supreme Court Collegium, not by that, panel that appoints
here
it.
Is that it's been 14 days. We do not know whose cash is it. We do not know the amount which has been recovered. We do not know the cash memo which was prepared. The nature of investigation is under the entire cloud. So can it be left on the internal or in-house inquiry?
No, exactly. That is the procedure of the Constitution of India. That is the procedure of the judgments of the court. But also, to my mind, there is one point.
The immunity that the judges enjoy.
There is no immunity if there is an inquiry. Police can launch an inquiry. Police can launch an inquiry. They need permission of the Chief Justice to call him for an inquiry or arrest him.
Not a me lord or an honorable judge, but a citizen of India, anyone, politicians also, members of parliament.
So Maria, tomorrow you have the Prime Minister as accused.
Do you think you would have gotten away for 14 days without any investigation? Criminal investigation?
The protection given to judges of the Supreme Court and High Court is because they decide very crucial cases against very powerful people. Like some of the person can be as powerful as the Prime Minister.
Yes, but this is the rarest of the rare
case. So you
case.
take on the system. Those protections are given by B.R. Ambedkar, and please, we must go to the commentaries. When B.R. Ambedkar was asked a question as to about why this protection is given, he ultimately said that if man has become wild, then we cannot do anything about it. You have to trust someone in the system.
Absolutely.
If man becomes wild, then you cannot do anything about it. But judges must have protection.
Yes, judges must have protection. I agree.
Judges must have protection, constitutional protection.
But if there are bad apples, just as in any system, Kapil Sankla, then there has to be some other form of...
Maria, last point. Let us look at the conduct of the Honorable Chief Justice of India. He has withdrawn the judicial work. There is an inquiry, and
no, but
lot of critics of the Supreme Court are saying that the finest judges are on the inquiry.
There is an ongoing investigation.
You have to trust the system.
But an in-house investigation is not the same as an investigation by an institution such as police mechanism or any other.
But you have to understand the separation of powers of judiciary and executive.
I understand it all, but this is the rarest of the rare case. When these images flash across your television screens, and we are told that it has been found in the premises of allegedly in the premises of an honorable judge, then questions will be raised. If it is indeed a rarest of the rare case, then shouldn't the nature of investigation also be the rarest of the rare?
Nature of the investigation has to be as per the
you have made your point.
So
Kapil Sankla.
You're absolutely right. It took a Vishaka to create the Vishaka guideline and post. It took an unfortunate Delhi rape case to get the criminal law into motion for protection of women. Those were rare cases that changed the law, changed the legislature. And this is one of those rare cases that requires a rare intervention to change the law, to change the system, to clean the system. We cannot state and say that what Dr. Ambedkar had said then is still good. We have changed. Our moral fabric is already torn. As I said, this is an allegation. If it is false, the perpetrators need to be punished. But God forbid it if it is true. Then the investigation has to take place. Police has to come in. CBI has to come in. And the perpetrators have to be punished. The entire nation, internationally, the world is watching our country. If something like that happens, as I said, if it is false, hopefully, then the perpetrators need to be punished. But if it isn't, the perpetrator still needs to be punished.
Absolutely. Justice
Can I
Mittal,
come in?
Yes.
your thoughts on the nature of investigation? What will be the correct form of investigation to restore
Certainly,
the public faith in the judiciary? That lords are investigating themselves too.
As I have stated earlier,
Yes.
that we have to rethink, the Supreme Court Collegium as well as the central government has to rethink and to lay down a procedure which is more effective. Now various evidences have been vanished. So the committee is trying to recollect the evidence from the mobile phones of the police officers who had gone immediately to the residence of the Honorable Judge. Certainly, I agree with my co-panelist that the procedure is being followed as per the Constitution of India. But what I am insisting is that now the time has come to lay down a more effective procedure. Maybe the CBI, maybe the ED, maybe the special force. Don't call the CBI or the ED or the Income Tax Department. Maybe a special force of the Honorable under the Supreme Court, which should watch the functioning of the judges and must directly report to the Supreme Court Collegium. So now the time has come to change either the Constitution or to change the procedure which is being followed. And in the present matter, it's very unfortunate that the various evidences have been vanished, and it is not clear that under whose direction the cleaning of the storeroom was done. Why the storeroom and the premises of the Honorable Judge were not sealed then and there. So there are many questions, and I am very much hopeful that Honorable the Supreme Court will take the right steps and will take the right decision in the matter, and certainly will try to re-establish the confidence of the general public, the faith of the judiciary, and the independence of the judiciary. I am very much sure the Honorable Supreme Court is already under the consideration to take all the measures, and for future also they have to take such measures so that inordinate delay is not done in any such matter. And maybe the Constitution may be amended, maybe the procedure, maybe the MOP, whatever it is, it should be, and it has to be. And I'm confident, as my co-panelist said, that the Visakha case changed the criminal law and various other judgments changed the law. Now the time has come to change the law on this point also. And the judiciary must be independent, judiciary must be far away from the corruption, and there must be not any blow on the integrity of the judiciary.
All right,
Judicial system, there is faith of the government, there is faith of the public, and there is the faith of the advocates.
Absolutely.
Who are practicing very hard and making very hard work to prepare their case.
Justice Mittal,
So,
really appreciate your time here on NDTV. Thank you so much, Kapil Sankla, and thanks for joining us on the show tonight. That's all from me on this edition of The Last Word.